When we use an AI tool, there's a quiet assumption we all tend to make.
We explain the task, we give it background, we even correct its mistakes. So, naturally, we expect it to remember what's important. We expect it to build on those clarifications. But then, the conversation takes an unexpected turn.
And that's when we hit a confusing moment, a moment that breaks the illusion that we're having one continuous conversation. Maybe the AI misses a detail that feels completely obvious, something you just mentioned. Or it might repeat a mistake that you've already corrected. Sometimes it just responds as if a whole part of your discussion never even happened. And that's confusing, because we remember it all very clearly.
So let's make this a bit more concrete. Imagine you're using an AI to help you prepare for an HR interview. Okay, so you start by asking for questions about teamwork and company culture. The AI gives you a good list. Then, you add a clear rule. No technical questions, please. The AI seems to understand. It agrees, and it updates the list. Perfect. But then you ask for a sample answer, and suddenly, it's talking about technical problem solving. That feels wrong, and you're left thinking, but I already told it this was for HR.
So why does that happen? Why does the AI seem to just ignore an instruction you gave it only moments before?
Well, the answer isn't that the AI is being careless. It's actually about a fundamental gap, a gap between what we expect is happening and what's really happening on the AI side. You see, our expectation is for a continuous memory, almost like we're talking to another person, but the AI's reality is very different. It operates on a snapshot of information, just moment by moment. So while we see one long connected conversation, the AI doesn't.
So when an AI forgets something, it's not being sloppy. The instruction you gave, it might just not be visible to the AI anymore. And that right there is the key. The issue isn't one of memory, it's one of visibility.
To really get this, we need to look a little closer at this idea of a snapshot. Let's define what it is the AI is actually seeing.
Here's the simplest way to put it. An AI doesn't respond to the entire conversation. It responds only to what it's shown, at the exact moment it answers.
And we call this the snapshot. It's the specific set of information the AI can see when it responds. Nothing more and nothing less. Anything outside of that snapshot is simply invisible to it.
Okay, so this naturally leads to a question. If this snapshot is all that matters, how can we control it? Well, the discipline for managing this has a name.
It's called context engineering, and it's simply the practice of managing what an AI sees from one moment to the next.
Now, it's important to understand this is different from just writing better prompts. Prompting is what a user does. Context engineering, on the other hand, is what the system does behind the scenes. It's about actively designing the snapshot that the AI receives.
Now this is a Foreview, so we won't get into the technical implementation, but the core idea is quite simple. First, any important decisions get stored outside the main chat. That rule we had, HR interview only, that's a perfect example. Then for each new thing you ask, the system rebuilds the context. It takes your new question and combines it with those important decisions it saved.
And when you engineer context this way, the AI's behavior really starts to change. Reliability stops being an accident, it becomes something you design from the start.
The AI's behavior becomes much more predictable because it's always being shown the most important rules. As a result, our prompts can actually become simpler. We no longer have to constantly remind the AI of everything, and this all leads back to the main point. Reliability becomes something that is designed, not just discovered.
This brings us to a really simple rule of thumb. If a decision needs to matter later on, it has to live outside the chat.
Because ultimately, an AI doesn't respond to everything you said. It responds only to what it can see right now, in this moment. And once we really grasp that, its behavior stops feeling so random. It starts to become explainable.
So, this was a Foreview of context engineering. It's a fundamental idea, one that shifts our focus away from just what we tell an AI to what an AI can see. And understanding that difference, well, that's the first real step toward building more reliable AI systems.
Tech Foreview.